First, I want to thank everybody that's been helping out people at their tables. I think this is one of the widest dispersions of ability slash what you've been taught. I mean, it's been pretty crazy since March of 2020. So I think you guys missed out on factoring in Algebra 1. Some people were actually able to get this a little bit depending on who your teacher was and where you were going to school, whether you were online or here. So I just want to thank everybody that is sharing their knowledge and continuing to do that. Secondly, I want to go all the way back to here. I was thinking of just doing the diamond method, so if that's what you're looking for on the video, you can fast forward a few minutes. But in the context of greatest common factor, factoring, we're going to reference that later, so I figured let me just do the whole thing that I really taught today, because it wasn't long anyway. Greatest common factor, okay, of two or more integers, the greatest number, that's the factor of all the integers. So what's the greatest common factor of negative 15 and 3? 3, yeah, it goes into both. All right, what about 2? 5, okay, so 20 can't go into 25 evenly, but 5 can go into both 20 and 25. What about number 4? What about number 4? What is the greatest common factor for number 4? Yeah, it is x squared. So take a look at this second thing they have here. The lowest exponent of that given variable. So the answer is not x for number 4. The answer is x squared for number 4, because if you had x to the 5th and you divided it by x squared goes evenly into it, and you'd end up with x to the 3rd. Yeah, that would be your answer to that. So x squared is the greatest common factor. What about number 5? What about number 5? What's the answer to number 5? Okay, so for those of you that are just learning this or like relearning this, whatever it happens to be, I would do the integers first. Okay, I'd do the coefficients first. What goes into 12 and 15 evenly? 3. Yeah, that's the biggest number that'll go in. What goes into x and x squared? X. Okay, so you could do it in 2 pieces if you want instead. I'm sure some of you are just 3x right away. That's great. What about number 6? What goes into both 4 and 16? 4, okay, and then what about a to the 7th and a to the 3rd? Yeah, a to the 3rd. Okay, so 4a to the 3rd is the greatest common factor of both of those. Okay, let's get into some real factoring here. I'll scroll up. So we have a nice big canvas of which to write our artistry on. So once again, you could start looking at these. It's not just a pair of numbers like above or a set of 3 numbers like above. We are actually going to factor out numbers. What's the largest number that goes into 24 and 72? 24 goes into both. And then what letter goes into W and Z? Correct, none. So this is going to be 24 times W plus 3Z. All right, and now you have factored that out. How do we check that we did this right? How do we check that we did this right? This is, yeah, now distribute it back in. You're going to have 24W plus 72Z. Okay, if you were to multiply 24 by W plus 3Z. All right, you guys see that? What goes into 2? What goes into 2? Yeah, 9 will go into all of them. Any letter? A. Yeah, 9A will go into all of them. And then what are we going to have here? 5A squared. Yep, 5A squared plus 4A minus 1. Yeah, okay, minus 1. So, and then from there, you may want to use the diamond method or something to factor the trinomial if that's possible. And how do we know we were right? Well, 9a times 5a squared is 45a cubed. 9a times positive 4a is plus 36a squared. And 9a times negative 1 is negative 9a. So it looks like we did the right thing there. What about number 4? What's the greatest common factor in number 4? Yeah, it's just A. Okay, you don't really pull a 1 out because 1 times anything is itself. So you're just going to pull the A out. If you want to think of it as 1A, that's fine. And then what's it going to multiply? What binomial? Yeah, 1 plus 10A. Okay, yeah, and if you were to distribute the A, you would get that again. Take a look at number 6. We give you a hint here. What do you want to factor out of number 6? You want to factor out a negative 5. Okay, why do we want to do that? Well, let's first do it. We want to factor out negative 5. Anything else? Yeah, we want negative 5x factored out. Okay, so why do we do that? Well, it's going to be a lot clearer when we do something like number 8 and 9 in just a second. So we have negative 5x, and then we have negative 25x squared. How do we make negative 5 into a negative 25x squared? It multiplies by 5. Negative 5x times 5 is negative 25x. So what's that got to be? Yeah, it's got to be 5x. Okay, and then this is going to be minus what? Yeah, minus 3. Good. 5x minus 3. 5x minus 3. So why do we factor out a negative 5x? Well, it's going to be a bit more obvious when we do questions like 8 and 9. It's going to be more obvious when we do those. So let's factor out what? What can we factor out on number 8? What's the largest thing we can factor out on number 8? What's the greatest common factor? Negative x cubed. Yeah, okay, so the lowest exponent is going to be negative x cubed. So why did we do that? Watch this. Negative x cubed will become negative x to the 5th if it multiplies by negative x cubed multiplied by, not negative x, yeah, just plain old x squared. Negative x cubed times what? Yeah, positive 4x, and then lastly, yeah, negative 23. So why are we pulling out a negative x cubed? We're pulling out the negative because now you have a positive 1, or it would be a positive number, as we're about to get to. You'll have a positive 1 or a positive number in front of the x squared, and then it's a lot easier to try to factor that trinomial. It looks like it's unfactorable because 23 is a prime number. But at least you don't have a negative x squared that you have to deal with, right? And then try to factor that, because then you'd want to pull out the negative 1 anyway. So just pull it out while you can. So let's look at number 9. What do we want to pull out of number 9? Yeah, negative 4 is the greatest common factor, so it's negative 4 and then parentheses. What's the rest? Yeah, 3x cubed minus 4. Oh, yep. Switch my signs for a second. Yep, minus 4x and then plus 1. Okay. And then we will discuss how to factor cubics in a future lesson once we actually do cubics. Good. What's the greatest common factor of 5?
11.
Yeah, 11.
X, 5, x to the 4th.
Yeah, x to the 4th. Yeah, 11x to the 4th. Then you can do that from there. Now, let's get to the real deal stuff here. Here is what you missed, perhaps entirely, in Algebra 1. And if you were in pre-AP Algebra 1, which a lot of you I imagine were, you definitely missed a big part of it where you had to factor when the a does not equal 1. Okay, so let's do this. The first thing that we do, okay, it says it in the box here. The first thing you do is you always look for the greatest common factor. Is there a factor of 4x squared plus 14x plus 6 that we can take out? Yes, you can take out 2. You have to look for this. Do not do reverse box method. Don't do diamond method. Don't factor by grouping. Whatever your favorite method of factoring is, if you actually have some practice with it and know how to do it, don't forget to do the GCF. Always. Always do GCF first. So you can take a 2 out, and then what are we left with here on these 3? Yeah, 2x squared plus 7x plus 3. All right, and there's a reason why we put it out like that. All right, so we're going to factor this 2x squared plus 7x plus 3 trinomial. You have an a value of 2 in front of the x squared. So this is what starts vexing students, and hopefully you're a lot less vexed in a few minutes. where am I going to put these? Let's get this hand out of the way. Where am I going to put the 2x squared and the 3? Yeah, 2x squared goes in the top left, and then what about the 3? Yeah, bottom right. All right, so now we want to reverse out of this. We want to reverse out of this and get something here that's going to add up to 7x. We need that to add up to 7x. So we need a pair of numbers that multiply to get 3 and then add to get 7. We need those in the top right and lower left boxes. So I don't have the answer key to this, so I don't know exactly what they're looking for here. We're going to do reverse box method, and then the reason I'm making this recording is to actually show you the diamond method, which everybody jumped at, even students that know how to learn how to do factoring, because this is my third class doing this. So I'm going to put what here? What am I going to put on opposite sides of this box here? Yeah, you're going to put in x and then, yeah, 2x, because if you do 2x times x, you'll get 2x squared. And now here's the tricky part. We need to find something that will be factors of 3, and that's going to add up to 7x once we push it around. So what are the factors of 3? Yeah, it's a prime number, so it's just 1 and 3. The thing is, though, it's also 3 and 1. Why am I doing that? Because what is 2x going to pair with, and what is the plain old x going to pair with? Because these are going to be our binomials on the top here and then on the left. And those two binomials will be our factors for this, what ends up being a trinomial. So why don't we just do some trial and error, which is probably how those of you that are blazed through this, or those of you that you're looking at and you can't believe how fast that they're doing this, they've just had a lot of practice. They were probably taught pretty well, and they've had a lot of practice, and they kind of just know factors off the top of their head and kind of which way things are going to go. So let me do this in blue to start with. I'm going to put plus 3 here. I'm going to try this pair first. I'm going to put plus 3 here, and then plus 3 there. And then I'm going to put plus 1 here. The reason I'm putting plus 1 is to just know what it's going to be in the binomial so we can watch my signs. What is 3 times x? Yeah, there's going to be 3x here, and this is going to be 1 times 2x is 2x. Okay, so now let's write all this out that's in the box. We're going to end up with 2x squared plus 3x plus 2x plus 3. Uh-oh. We have 2x squared plus 5x now plus 3. Is that our original trinomial? No. Okay, so we know what the next answer is going to be. That's correct. Let me put the correct answer down here because I think they wanted us to separate this out. So we have 2x squared. I'm starting the problem over, essentially. I've got 2x squared plus 7x plus 3. This didn't work, so I'm going to have 2x squared and 3 in the top left and bottom right. Okay, you guys see what I'm doing? I'm starting the problem over. And I have 2x here and just plain old x here. That's going to multiply to 2x squared. All right, so I got rid of this pair already, the 3 and the 1, where I put the 3 with 2x, and I got the x plus 1 together. So essentially, 2x plus 3 times x plus 1 is going to equal all of this. Those are not the factors of 2x squared plus 7x plus 3. You already know what they are because there's only one choice left. So instead of putting the 3 with the 2x, I'm going to put what with the 2x? Plus 1, yeah. And I'm going to put plus 1 here. So now I have factors of 2x plus 1 and x plus 1. Why don't you guys do the top right, bottom left here? Hey. All right. Best of luck. You're welcome. Why don't you guys multiply 2x plus 1 times x plus 1? You can just do it in the box here. We already did 2 of the 4 numbers. I'm sorry. This is supposed to be 3 down here. This is x plus 3. I was like, why is this not working out? This is x plus 3 over here. Okay, now multiply this out. Sorry. You have 1 in the x here, so this is just x. And now the magic 2x times 3 is 6x, and this indeed is going to multiply out to 2x squared plus 7x plus 3. And that is what we are looking for. So these are the factors that we need if you do reverse box method. Now, if you have questions on that, you can ask them if you want. When I show you the diamond method, you're probably going to want to do that, which is why I'm making this video. Let's get the full standard form out. We have the factors here, and don't forget we have that 2 that multiplied in front. So the standard form of 4x squared plus 14x plus 6 equals, in factored form, 2 times 2x plus 1 times x plus 3. That is the factored form of 4x squared plus 14x plus 6. As you finish writing that, I'm going to scroll up to the next page. You guys can take another quick look at the diamond method, see how it compares to the box method. And like I said, I think you'll like this a lot. I'm going to do 4 first and then example 2 on this page. I'll show you why. It'll be pretty obvious why I'm doing that here. So when it comes to difficult topics or topics that take a lot of practice, like factoring, I try to make sure to do some difficult ones in class or show you exactly how to do them. And I was tempted to do number 4 and then say, okay, now try number 2. Here I'm telling everybody exactly what to do. I want you to draw a nice big X right here. You got plenty of space for it. Draw a nice big X. And make sure that you have enough space to write, close to where the lines are intersecting, close to the X. At the top here, I want you to write A times C. Right, A times C. On the bottom, okay, almost like below where the X's end, the lines of the X, I want you to put the letter B. And then here's the key part. Take what the first number and letter are. Okay, take the 3x, not 3x squared. Not 3x squared. Take just the 3x, and I want you to put a 3x here, put a line underneath it because you're going to have a number there, so make sure you got space. And then put 3x here and put a line underneath it because you're going to make a fraction out of that. I'll show you in just a second. Let's write out our A, our B, and our C. Our A is what? What's our A? 3. Yeah, our A is 3. What's our B value? -8. What's our C value? Our C value is 4. So let's fill out the diamond now. A times C is 3 times 4, so make a nice big 12 in here. It's a positive 12 that's in here. Right below it is our B value of -8. You don't need to do anything there. You just have to have -8. So now, think about what factors of 12, positive 12, what factors of positive 12 are going to add up to -8? 6 and 2. But what kind of 6 and 2? Yeah, it's got to both be negative. All right, so if you need to list the factors 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, okay, add those up. 3 and 4 add up to 7, 1 and 12 add up to 13. Those aren't what you want. But even 2 and 6 adds up to 8. That's not what you're looking for. You're looking for -8. So this needs to be 2 negative numbers that get you to a -8 and get you to a positive 12. So it's going to be a -2 and a -6. All right. So I want you guys to write -2 here and -6 here. If you flip those, that would be okay. So if you put -6 underneath the 3x on the left and -2 under the 3x on the right, that is perfectly fine. I wrote it this way to show you something. I'm going to finish this in blue. 3x minus 2. Is there any number that goes into negative 2 and 3? Any number that goes into those evenly? No, there's not. So guess what? That's your first factor. 3x minus 2. There's your first factor. Is there a number that can go into 3 and negative 6? What number? What number goes into 3 and negative 6? 3. So I'm going to put 3 into 3x. That leaves me with 1x, not 0, not 0, it leaves me with 1x. And then 3 goes into negative 6 how many times? Negative 2. So what do we have left over here? We have x over a negative 2. And guess what that is? X and negative 2 is your other factor. I want you to multiply this in the box here and see if you come out with 3x squared minus 8x plus 4. How awesome is that? It's going to get really awesome in a second. Example 2. Example 2. Our factors are 3x minus 2 times x minus 2. Those are our factors for that. You'll be doing these a lot faster as you just practice. It's just practice, all this stuff. You want to stick with the reverse box method? You want to factor by grouping? You have another way of doing this? God bless you. Do whatever you want. Okay, I'm just trying to teach everybody this because a lot of you guys missed it with what should have been Algebra 2. All right, let's make another nice big diamond. And I actually just made a mistake here, kind of. What's the first thing to do? Not draw the diamond, not write out A, B, and C. Yes, you've got to factor out the greatest common factor. Your A value is not 6, and your C value is not negative 2, nor is your B value 4. You've got to factor out the 2. Factor out the 2. So this is going to be 2 times what? 2 times, what's the trinomial? 3x. Yeah, 3x squared plus 2x minus 1. There we go. 3x squared plus 2x minus 1. So here, this will probably be the last time you have to write this. This is A times C here. This is going to be B down here. And then what is our coefficient of what we're actually going to factor? This is going to be 3x. This is going to be 3x, and you're going to make fractions out of that, so make sure it's 3x divided by something. And now what's our A value? What's the A value? The A value is 3. Yeah, we're just factoring the trinomial. We're just factoring the trinomial. What's the B value? 2. And what's the C value? Negative 1. Okay, so A times C is 3 times negative 1. Watch the signs. That's negative 3. Our B value is 2. And now, what is going to multiply to negative 3 but add up to 2? What multiplies to negative 3 and add up to 2? I mean, if you need to list your factors, you have 1 and negative 3. You have negative 3 and 1. Which one's it going to be? It's going to be, hold on, 3 times negative, yeah, you're right. Sorry, this is 3 times negative 1. Sorry. This is 3 times negative 1. And that's what we are looking for. So you could put the 3 here and the negative 1 here. That's up to you. I'm going to put the 1 here and the negative 3 here because I want to get my first factor, 3x plus 1, up here already. That's one factor of this. Yes?
Isn't it supposed to be negative 1 and 3?
Hold on a second. Negative 1. Yes. It's negative 1 and 3. Only the third time I've done this, right? This is negative 1, and this is 3. So this is 3x minus 1. There we go. Thank you. Okay, negative 1 and 3, nothing can go into those, so just keep that 3x minus 1. What about 3x and 3? Yeah, these can go, 3 goes into each, and you're left with x over 1, and there's your x plus 1 factor. Okay, why don't you multiply these out and see if that indeed worked out to 3x squared plus 2x minus 1. How do you guys like that? Okay, good, good. So it leaves out the guesswork of, do you put the -2, where do you put the -2? In this case, it would have been the same thing. Where do you put the -1? Where do you put the +1? And things like that. Anything else I wanted to say? So this diamond method works with a values of 1. So if you guys want to try example 5 next with the diamond method, that's fine. Some of you can probably do that in your head, or you can reverse box that a lot easier than when there's a 2x squared, 3x squared, 4x squared, whatever it happens to be. I'm going to pass out this sheet for factoring practice. And you also probably want to practice the diamond method on like 1, 2, and 3 on this page here. Okay. Anything else? All right, excellent.